Before we begin, please be aware this video discusses SA, self-exit and abuse. I want to treat this with care, so please take care of yourself too. Mouthwashing is not just about a monster. It's a story about what happens when it's protected. When a good but passive man does nothing, when a system props this up, and when the person who told the truth is erased. We're going to look at this through 3 lenses. Jimmy's point of view is the one the game puts in your hands first. And this matters because Jimmy doesn't just hurt people, but controls a lot of the narrative. From the moment we inhabit his perspective, we see a man obsessed with power, hierarchy, and worth. He corrects Anya when she calls Curly Captain, insisting that he is just Curly now, and without ceremony, he assumes the role of captain in Curly's place. It's ironic he says people have to be worth their titles, because Jimmy did not earn this through care or competence. And this new power dynamic bleeds into every interaction he has, especially with Anya. When Jimmy speaks to her, she is never centered in the frame. Even before we understand the full scope of what he's done, Jimmy's perspective is already telling us that this is how he sees her, on the periphery, inconvenient, unimportant. He berates her for failing to get into medical school, even though Pony Express itself prevented her from advancing. He calls her Nurse Anya with contempt, as if reminding her, and himself, that she never became more. And yet, it is Anya who helps drive the survival of the crew. She nudged him to get the code scanner to open the cargo hold. She tells him where extra medical supplies are. She asks him for help with Curly's painkillers. And every time she does, Jimmy resents her for it, lashing out and accusing her of sentimentality. Jimmy needed Anya to push him to take responsibility, but it's crushing him, and he hates her for it. Nowhere is his contempt even more clear than in the way he treats Curly. When Jimmy gives Curly his painkillers, he does so with cruelty, telling a mutilated, voiceless man that pain is how we know we're still living. And later, filled with resentment, we hear it. Jimmy beats Curly while giving him care. This is an abusive, twisted, weak coward of a man. And his hallucinations reveal everything about Jimmy's psyche. He hallucinates Curly forgiving him, of him taking the blame. He hallucinates his guilt over Daisuke's and Swansea's deaths. But when it comes to Anya, she disappears. Her self-exit is glitched out. Her face is obscured in his ID card hallucination. Her death only becomes visible when Jimmy needs something from the medbay. But he has nothing to say about it, not even an option to interact. Her self-exit was off-screen, which created psychological distance for Jimmy to tell himself. She chose that. Jimmy does not hallucinate any guilt for Anya. She does not haunt him, but her pregnancy does. Polly, the Pony Express mascot, returns again and again. Grotesque. Malformed. A womb turned inside out. Anya is reduced to a vessel, and even that vessel is transformed into an abomination. The same blue text box used for Anya's dialogue is used for Polly too. They're both just a ramification to him. As Jimmy is telling himself our worst moments don't make us monsters, Polly interrupts with, "Then why are you still concerned with him?" No mention of her. This is the core of Jimmy's psychology. He feels guilt, but only towards men. He feels fear, but only of his consequences. And when he finally places Curly in the cryopod, he tells himself it's his redemption. He doesn't check if the pod works. He doesn't even stay to see if Curly survives. Jimmy shoots himself off screen, satisfied with the story he's told himself, that he took responsibility, that he was a captain, to preserve the illusion that he wasn't a monster. Curly's story is more nuanced, and that's what makes it harder to sit with. From his perspective, we see a man who is attentive, warm, and well-liked. He notices the board game left out between Anya and Daisuke, remembering that Daisuke is really good and Anya hates losing. He has a warm rapport with his crew. He is, by most estimations, a good captain. I want to quickly note that in the How Fish Are Made DLC, by the same developers as Mouthwashing, Curly discloses that he was the one who got Jimmy this job, which is confirmed as canon. Curly's defining flaw is not cruelty, it's his comfort and complacency. Anya expresses discomfort with performing Jimmy's psychological evaluation, as Jimmy undermines her and her work with comments like, "I have found myself excited at the sight of cartoon horses." Curly kindly steps in to take this off her hands. To him, this is helping, this is protecting. But by taking it onto himself, he shields Jimmy from accountability. What he could have done was observe the psych evaluations between the two, and chastise Jimmy for the inappropriate comments. Instead, he jokes with Jimmy about his horse comment. He reframes Anya's discomfort as humour. He smooths things over. He believes in handling things quietly, internally, and off the record. This is how Curly leads, with a people-pleasing, corporate-friendly passivity. And we see it again in a conversation with Anya. Anya points out the flaw in the night sky projection, a single dead pixel that breaks the illusion for her. Curly can't see it, or perhaps he doesn't want to. He doesn't think it ruins the illusion. He's used to looking at the bigger picture. It's revealing. Because for Anya, the dead pixel is always there, in the back of her mind. Anya asks Curly why the medical room has locks, but not the dormitories. He answers safety without thinking about what safety actually means, or who it's designed for. And then comes the truth. A day later, Anya tells him she's pregnant. And when Curly begins to ask who, she stops him. She told him. This is not only a revelation, but recognition. Recognition that Anya was SA'd by Jimmy before the events of this game. Her pregnancy is now proof of her assault on board of this ship, where Curly has responsibility and a duty of care for his crew. So he comes to understand what his inaction has enabled. When Anya tells him she told Jimmy about her pregnancy, and that she doesn't want him on board anymore, Curly decides to act, but it's too little, too late. He employs the same passivity and complicity as always. Jimmy frames the situation in terms of us. Jimmy shares the blame and responsibility with Curly. Curly hears his own words weaponized against him about wanting escape and something more, and realizes the man he's protected has turned not just those sentiments, but his own crime into justification for the total annihilation of the Tulpar crew. Curly discovers Jimmy. He diverts the crash at the last second and saves the crew, and for that, he is mutilated beyond recognition. He becomes physically what he was morally. He watches Anya die. He is tortured by Jimmy. He knows his crew are dead. And in the end, he is placed in a cryopod, alive, conscious, and then frozen, on a ship lodged in an asteroid. That is his punishment. Anya's story is not given to us directly. We have to reconstruct it, because the men around her never fully see it. She stutters around Jimmy. She apologizes even when she's right. She's ignored for pointing out the mouthwash is too sugary to use as disinfectant. She's uncomfortable doing Jimmy's psych evaluation, and is relieved when Curly takes it from her. She notices the dead pixel in the digital projection. She sees what others either don't see or choose not to. She tracks the remaining days in months, not because she's anxious about the haul, but because she's counting her pregnancy. She rightly questions about there being no locks on the dormitories. She questions what Curly would have done to have helped her. She hides the gun because she knew Curly would never have trusted her to use it to defend herself, so instead she hides it from Jimmy. She even sleeps beside the motion-activated Polly so she'll wake if someone approaches. Anya is not passive. She tells Curly about her assault. She tells Jimmy she's pregnant. Jimmy walks away, instead deciding to put the whole crew on a crash-collision path. And when she locks herself in the medbay, she succumbs to the abuse, the moral failings, and the rot of this situation. She ODs in there, with Curly on the gurney beside her. Whether she wanted him to see, or simply wanted to not be alone, we will never know. Her death is framed by Jimmy as an inconvenience, but Anya puts her fate into her own hands, and it's far from the most monstrous thing she's done. She says it herself. This is the best decision I'll ever make. Her story only survives if we insist on seeing it. None of this happened in a vacuum. Pony Express docks medical expenses from pay. HR punishes collective poor synergy. They put restrictions on sleep and leisure. They allow only one communal celebration per hall. They send 5 people on a ship with only 4 cryopods. They place 1 woman in a crew of all men. They put locks on the medicine and the cockpit, but not the dormitories. The ship carries fucking mouthwash. Pony Express built a system where abuse could be buried, where silence was rewarded, and where speaking up could mean collective punishment. Mouthwashing forces us to sit inside the male perspectives, but the real tragedy belongs to Anya. Her story lingers for me because it feels beyond just fiction, but stories like hers deserve to be centered. If this video did anything, I hope it shifted the lens back to Anya.